Hello, my name is Martin Fellacher. I'm the manager of PINA, an institute for nonviolence resistance in Western Austria. And I'm very happy to introduce to you today two of my very important network partners. One is Claudia Shelder. She's a psychologist in an institution for children with and without special needs.
Yes.
And the second is her little assistant. His name is OUPS. Hi, OUPS.
Hi.
We want to give you a little bit of an insight of their very awesome work today with the following questions. Claudia, can you tell me a bit about the special needs of the children you're working with?
Yeah, well, that's not so easy to summarize. Our institution, the Stiftung UPS, was founded for children with mental disabilities. But this was more than 50 years ago, and nowadays we're working with all kinds of special needs as well as with normal children which cannot live at home because of different reasons. The children are between 3 and 20 years old. Many of them live in special shelters, but some only come for daycare. Some may be traumatized, some have specific behavior issues, some learning disabilities, psychiatric diagnoses, and so on. We very often face issues with violence.
And which problems do you face regarding the implementation of NVR with those children?
The main problem is in the implementation of NVR is when children don't have a language. But our experience shows that the methods of NVR still work, since the main focus is on our attitude and our self-control rather than what we can tell the children with words. Sometimes we have to adapt our actions to the special needs of children with learning disabilities. But in fact, we always have to adapt the things we're doing to our vis-a-vis, no matter if the child has a diagnosis or not. In general, very often we have to convince the adults. I think that's the main problem. So that we have to convince them that they can put the NVR methods past children with learning disabilities.
And what do you think are the benefits of NVR in that kind of work?
The main benefit is to become independent of the reactions of the child. We don't have to have control over the child. In tricky situations, and we have got a lot of tricky situations, we can ask ourselves, what can we do now? Instead of thinking of what the child has to do to behave like we want it to. I think the other important thing is that nobody has to solve problems by himself or herself. We're acting together. We have a common idea of how to handle the difficult situation. The idea of delay in our reaction is also very helpful. We do not have to react immediate, but we have to stay persistent to find solution. Persistent, very persistent.
Can you introduce your assistant to us now?
Well, I think, oops, you can do that by yourself, huh? Yeah, of course. Where's the focus? Where's the focus? Ah, yeah, well, okay. Hi. I'm Oops. Where's the focus? I'm Oops. I'm 14 years old. I come from the planet of the heart. I've got a girlfriend. Sorry, Matti. I've got a girlfriend. Her name is Upsine. I'm very important for Claudia because I'm her assistant. And I'm much more successful than she is, but don't tell her that. I'm with Claudia for about 6 years now. Yeah, imagine 6 years. Before that, I lived with a boy called Stefan. One day he thought that I might be helpful for Claudia and suggested me to take on this position. This was a hard decision. But having the chance to help so many children was very special to me. When I started with this job, Claudia and I realized that children are reacting very positively to me. So I took more and more duties. Yeah. Well, and now I'm responsible for child protection in our institution as well.
Thank you, OUPS. So, Claudia, can you tell us what is OUPS doing? What makes him so special for the children?
OUPS is doing a lot. You know, sometimes he's getting in contact with children before they are in contact with our psychology department. In general, he's very important in establishing contacts to the children. Sometimes just by observing the way the children are reacting, I can get an impression how grave the issues among the child are. He shows a lot of presence by sending emails, photos, WhatsApp messages, postcards, letters, and so on. He has his own little column in our institution's magazine, and he does a lot of gestures of attachment in between our therapy sessions. And he's also part of different project groups with the children. And he's the spokesperson for the children towards the children's advocate, which is an official authority. And the children invite him many, many times to their birthday parties and other occasions. In fact, many times they invite OUPS, but not me. It's him. But as OUPS has to be driven, I have to join him.
Well, oops, this might be a bit embarrassing for you now, but I have to ask Claudia, do children take a doll serious?
I'm not a doll. I'm not a doll.
Of course, I know.
OUPS is not a doll. And you rather don't argue with our children in our institution, OUPS being a doll. He's OUPS, and he's got his own personality, and children don't even think about even being him a doll. He's not a doll. No, I'm OUPS.
And how does OUPS, with his personality, contribute to the NVR support network and to the imagination of the children?
Well, OUPS is a very important supporter in the different networks. Though he's sometimes, sorry OUPS, he's sometimes a little bit rude. I'm rude? No, I'm not rude. No, yes, sometimes you're a bit rude and very direct. He's always very charming and he's got a lot of humor. He can point out things an adult never could. The children wouldn't be embarrassed by him, though they would if I would, for example, would the same thing to them. You understand it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he supports the presence of the whole supporters network. Very often I get the impression that especially traumatized children are able to trust OUPS much more than they trust any adult. He's not dangerous, he's not judging, which makes the children feel really, really safe.
Okay, so if someone watching this video now wants to introduce an assistant such as OUPS in their work with children with learning disabilities, what would be the 3 most important recommendations from your point of view?
First of all, I think you really have to love the figure you want to work with. You really have to love it. The second thing is you have to create a story. You have to create adjectives and experiences for that figure that correspond to the world the children live in. For example, children sometimes ask me, why is OUPS only sending emails when I'm in the office as well? Well, and I answer, well, one day OUPS misused his internet access when he was alone. Therefore, he's only allowed to use the computer when I'm around. Children immediately understand that. And the third thing, I think that's also important, don't feel ashamed when playing with a figure. That might be sometimes very difficult. For example, when children invite OUPS to a public event or we're out in public areas. I had to get over this embarrassment in the beginning, but at the end, you get used to it.
Okay, thanks Claudia. Thanks OUPS for that exciting insight to your awesome work.
It was an honor. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.